there, Shawna Karrasch here with another Ask Shawna answer coming to you from Villanova. Okay, it says, here's the question. I found your podcast, Clicker Training 101, and it has been very helpful. I board my horses at a place where I am discouraged from doing training at Liberty because other boarders can be using the facility at the same time. But when no one else is around, I do Liberty training. I have 15-year-old gelding paint. He is catching on to clicker training and loves the target. My question is this. Regarding the reverse round pen, I've been able to set up a round pen with traffic cones and then made targets using retractable flagpoles. With either a pool floater on the end, or I have found some summer kids balls that are the right size in bright colors. I can't attach strings to the poles, and it has to be taken down as soon as someone else comes into the arena. My horse is going around them pretty good. We only just started, but he is getting the idea about not coming into the center through the cones. I am planning on trying to get him to trot when he has the cue to walk and stop down. And I don't know how I can go into the center of the circle without him following me. Our last session, I did have him at Liberty, and I think he got bored because he just walked away. I had to attach the lead in order to get everything cleaned up in the arena. How do I train the horse to go around the reverse round pen without ropes attached to the traffic cones? And how do you move into the circle and have the horse continue to go around the circle? Thank you for your anticipated response. I just love the bond that we are getting using the clicker and target. Okay, that is a great question. I didn't even, Debbie. Hi, Deb, actually. Deb, that is a great question. And like you said, we can do the reverse round pen without necessarily having the poles. Having, extendable poles or even the tape. Because a lot of times I use the electric tape because the electric tape is quick to do and it's not so fussy and you can take it down quick. But I also get not really even wanting to use that. Another option just to think about is sometimes I will lay a really small thin pole or something on the ground, like just a little thin PVC pole. You can lay that on the ground sometimes, which just creates a little bit of a visual border, but you don't even really need that. So what you just need to do, because frankly, I'm going to tell you, Henley can come right over. She can, and she knows it, and she'll do it in a heartbeat. So it's not that big of a deterrent for her. So I still have to help her to realize to stay. She's not the only one, but I need to help her to learn how to stay on your side. That's your side. This is my side. So what I would do is just go a little bit slower. So there's more. It can be a little less clear for him. So what you want to do is go slower so you're making it clear what you're looking for. So as you started, he's got the idea of going out and staying out there. I would bridge a lot of times, use your clicker to tell him the part I like is when you actually go by a cone so that he starts getting the idea. So what you're really doing is drawing attention to the fact that he's on the outside of the cone, the outside of the cone, the outside of the cone. And if you feel like, so you're saying be on the outside of the cone, because I've taught horses to weave through cones and weave through poles, and basically I'm just clicking as they go to the outside, and then as they curl around, so they get the idea that that serpentine motion on the outside of the pole is the piece. So it's, and it helps because with the reverse round pen, you can get right up next to them and help make it clear. So while you may be able to get it where you walk towards the center with the walk, I imagine if you go to the trot, you may lose some criteria. And so in that situation, I would go back to being near him. So now you're going to be closer, more like Liberty leading, and build up to where you can do a slow trot to a bigger trot, and then slowly fading yourself to the center. But remember, your criteria at that point isn't really the duration. It's making the decision to stay out and to stay out and to stay out. So when that criteria, that piece is clear and he gets the idea on that successive approximation, that tiny step, then it is time to, and then when that piece is clear, then you can add another criteria, which is the next piece would be, I want you to do it with a little bit more distance or a little bit more speed. So I'd first start with it being next to him and trotting, and it's going to be harder because you're going to have to run to stay with him a little bit more. But as you drop back just a little bit, if he stays out there, I would click. The other thing sometimes I look for, if I keep feeling like they're wanting to come in, and this is something I just had happen with Henley. So we went and did the reverse round pen in the indoor. Well, she hadn't done that. Well, now it's all new, and she's like, oh, it's all out the window. I do what I want again. So having to remind her as we shifted context that no, the same rules still apply. So you can see she's wanting to come in and wanting to, every time we passed a cone, she's like, and maybe I'll come in. And I mean, she's thinking I'll just hop over these little poles. And so what I had to do is, as I got it where she stayed straight, and there's one point where she actually kind of looked out a little bit, I drew attention to that. I clicked that because she was actually thinking the opposite of focusing on me. I don't want her to stop focusing on me, but that little deviation of kind of looking out took her shoulder and body out. So I drew attention to that moment in time. So here, little synapses, a little recap of what I suggest you do. One, go slower. Don't expect too much too soon. You have a little bit of an extra piece that those of us that can put a barrier up, it makes it a little bit easier for them to make the right decision. You're without that piece. So what you need to do is say, okay, well then I need to make it clear with my clicking and maybe with my body language first. Get you to see you're staying out there, and I draw attention to you going around those cones until you can slowly drop back little by little. But remember, duration isn't your first thing. It's getting the idea of doing that a little bit by a little bit, and then the duration will come a little bit later. So one criteria at a time, one piece at a time. If you have too many pieces, it's ambiguous and it's confusing, and they don't know what is the good piece, what is the bad piece, what is the I don't know what piece you're looking for. So make it clear by going a little bit slower and building up and looking for the times where the head is either out a little bit or they're letting go of you by looking and kind of wanting to come into you a little bit. So just go a little bit slower. This is a process we actually call selective bridging. So you're clicking at precise moments in time, so you're picking that piece. How you're helping to set them up for success is going back to being out on the circle with them to help bring clarity. Now, let's say you're going along, it's going good, and one day he loses his way, and all of a sudden he's wanting to come in again. Doesn't matter. You just go back out to the side, remind him where he was, go back to those building blocks, and remind him what was the criteria and build that up again. So you'll get there. You just need to be a little bit slower. You just kind of have another piece to really be sure you get in place and to make it solid. So that's my advice for you, Deb. And I know that you will get this worked out. So you just keep on trucking there. You keep on hanging in there. If you have any questions, again, you know where to get a hold of me. You can just go to askshawna.com, Ask Shawna Karrasch, or via Nova. You can go to vianovatraining.com, of course, and find the Ask Shawna side and the podcast and stuff like that too. So there you go. I hope that helps you out. Thank you for being a dedicated listener. Of course, we love that. And I'm glad that it's helping and giving you some tools to help you and your guy to connect and have a better relationship. Okay, so that's it for now. Have fun. Bye.